Biden enacts debt ceiling bill, rescuing U.S. from impending default. Welcome to Updates Area YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to get most updated news. In a crucial move, President Joe Biden has signed a bill that eliminates the nation's debt ceiling, preventing a catastrophic default on the United States government debt. With only 2 days remaining before the deadline, the White House announced on Saturday that Biden had privately signed the legislation at the White House. The president expressed gratitude to congressional leaders for their cooperation in an emailed statement. The Treasury Department had issued warnings that the country would face a shortage of funds to fulfill its financial obligations starting on Monday, which would have had severe repercussions for both the U.S. and global economies. The impasse over raising the borrowing limit was fueled by Republican demands for spending cuts, creating a standoff that persisted until extensive negotiations between the White House and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy resolved the issue. The final agreement, which was approved by the House on Wednesday and the Senate on Thursday, suspends the debt limit until 2025 after the next presidential election, while also imposing constraints on government spending. It establishes budget targets for the next 2 years to ensure fiscal stability during the upcoming political season. The increase in the debt limit, which currently stands at $31.4 trillion, guarantees that the government can continue borrowing to cover its existing debts. President Biden, speaking from the Oval Office on Friday evening, emphasized the critical nature of passing this budget agreement, describing defaulting on the country's debt as catastrophic. While acknowledging that compromises were made and that not everyone got everything they wanted, Biden asserted that the American people obtained what they needed, avoiding an economic crisis and collapse. He highlighted his first-term achievements, such as support for high-tech manufacturing, infrastructure investments, incentives for combating climate change, and successfully thwarting Republican attempts to undermine his agenda and achieve deeper cuts. Biden reiterated his willingness to work with Republicans, but also drew distinctions, particularly in regard to his push for increased taxes on the wealthy, which he suggested might have to wait until a second term. He expressed confidence in his chances of winning re-election with the help of the American people. The president's comments provided a detailed account of the compromise negotiated by him and his staff. Throughout the high-stakes talks, Biden maintained a low public profile, aiming to allow both sides to reach a deal and lawmakers to vote on it without undue interference. Biden commended McCarthy and his team for negotiating in good faith, along with all congressional leaders for ensuring the swift passage of the legislation. He praised their responsible actions and their prioritization of the nation's welfare over politics. The 99-page bill overall imposes spending restrictions for the next 2 years and introduces certain policy changes. It includes new work requirements for older Americans receiving food aid and approves an Appalachian natural gas pipeline that many Democrats oppose. Some environmental regulations have been modified to streamline approvals for infrastructure and energy projects, a move desired by moderate members of Congress. According to the Congressional Budget Office, the bill could actually expand eligibility for federal food assistance by eliminating work requirements for veterans, homeless individuals, and young people leaving foster care. The legislation also increases funding for defense and veterans, reduces new funding for the Internal Revenue Service, IRS, and rejects Biden's proposal to roll back tax breaks for corporations and the wealthy that were implemented during the Trump era to address the nation's deficits. However, the White House confirmed that the IRS's plans to enhance tax law enforcement for high-income earners and corporations will continue. Additionally, the agreement includes an automatic 1% cut to spending programs if Congress fails to approve its annual spending bills, creating pressure for lawmakers from both parties to reach a consensus before the end of the fiscal year in September. Although more Democrats than Republicans supported the bill in both chambers, bipartisan support was necessary for its passage. In the Senate, 63 members, including 46 Democrats and independents, and 17 Republicans voted in favor, while 31 Republicans, along with 4 Democrats and 1 independent who caucuses with the Democrats, opposed it. The bill received a 314-117 vote in the House.